Terrell Owens, this is Jim Conlan from RCB Radio Sport Ireland. Good day to you, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good morning from me.
Good morning. Terrell, can I just start off with you, Terrell, with a question there that I recently asked Maurice Green in an interview there, Terrell. Terrell, you had a fantastic and amazing career. You broke records after records. I just wondering, Terrell, what defines your character? What made you want to keep pursuing your dreams, to keep eclipsing record after record? What made the man that is Terrell Owens today?
Yeah, it's Terrell. I understand.
Terrell.
The language varied, but it's Terrell.
Oh, Terrell.
But I guess to answer your question, I never really set out to break any records, and I think anybody that has played or witnessed a number of sports on any level know that records are, they're never there to stay. They're meant to be broken, I think. But for me, when I reflect back on my career, again, I never really set out or really had the vision to play football beyond the collegiate level. So everything that I've been able to accomplish, truly was a blessing, and I took full advantage of the opportunities that were given to me. So everything that happened, within that process, if there were records that I was able to make or break or what have you, then again, it was really an attribute to really my hard work and my work ethic. When I reflect back on my career, I talk to kids and I'll explain to you really kind of what got me to where I am now. That's what I call 3 Ds, and that's desire, dedication, and discipline. And so I think anybody, listening to this, it could be applicable to anything that they may have going on in life. Again, everyone has a desire to be or do something, but I think to get to that next level, and I think for people that aspire to be an athlete or look at my career as some type of inspiration, I think, to get to that next level, they have to dedicate themselves, and they have to, they have to discipline themselves, which are the other 2 Ds, part of those 3 Ds.
Yeah, and growing up, you excelled in not only American football, but you also excelled in baseball and track and basketball. What made you go down the line of American football? You could easily pursue a career in basketball or track, for example. What was the defining reason that made you choose the career to be an NFL footballer?
I think I realized really kind of what suited me, and I think football kind of found me, so to speak. I played a number of sports because I was very athletic, and that was my interest, was in other sports, as those that you mentioned, from track, basketball, and baseball. So again, that's why I try to tell kids today, never limit yourself and put all your eggs in one basket, because you never know where your path or your career may take you. A la me. So anybody that knows me, they know that I have a love and affection and a passion for basketball. But I realized that there was something, I think people saw there was something in me to play football. So I basically just capitalized on, again, the opportunities that were, that were given to me. There was a lot of hard work that went into that. I realized that, in high school and even in college, that I was undersized. I wasn't fast enough. I wasn't big enough. So I really put forth a lot of extra effort on top of what my high school coaches and even my collegiate coaches asked me to do, to put myself in the best position possible for those opportunities when they arise.
Yeah, and you started off your NFL career with the San Francisco 49ers, and just looking at there, you come from a collegiate background, you go right into the NFL. What is it like going in there, your first season in the NFL, your first debut there in 1996 against the New Orleans Saints? What was the sort of build-up that week? You're told you're going in, you're making your debut, the work and all the work you've put in after coming in for that year. What was it like to take to that field as an NFL player and say, I've arrived here?
Well, it was a bit overwhelming, especially coming from a small university, small college, in the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. Again, I wasn't really faced with the better competition of Division I schools. as some of my peers and a lot of people around the league. So when I got into the National Football League and my first year, my rookie year with the San Francisco 49ers, there was an adjustment period. But that adjustment period, it didn't last. A long time. Again, I had to get in there right away and learn the offense. I had to understand what I was doing. I had to understand whatever everyone else was doing. I really tried to go in there and try to grasp as much as I could, to be able to go out on the football field, even in practice, to perform, to really show that organization that I was capable of playing in which they drafted me for. So, again, it didn't hurt at all having the number one receiver of all time to see on an everyday basis, see his work habits, his work ethic, to see how he approached the business. So for me, transitioning from college to pros, I think the biggest difference is not only just the wealth of knowledge that you're having to attain when going, into especially a historic franchise like the San Francisco 49ers. But there's a lot that entails with trying to make that transition from a small school, really going into the pros right away, where speed, number one, is the biggest difference that I saw, and I imagined, really kind of going into it. But I saw it firsthand how faster, how bigger, and how stronger guys were coming over from the collegiate level to the pros, and that's why you don't really see so much of that, of guys coming out of high school going to the pros in football like you do in basketball.
Yeah, and we talk about wide receivers, and when we watch American football here in Ireland, we're blown away by the speed and the acceleration of the wide receivers in American football. But how much of that in relation to mental capacity, learning plays on the coaches, learning all the dynamics with the quarterback, and relatively be in tee with the quarterback, be in sync, knowing where he's going to throw that ball at most times, and to building up that relationship? Does that click straight away, or is that built over a long period of time of hard work and training?
Well, I think the mental capacity is something that, again, I think you're able to be able to really kind of assess as you're going through different levels of the sport. Even from playing Pop Warner to junior high to high school to then collegiate. I think, if you're playing at a high level and you're really actually getting playing time, I think that mental capacity is something that you're able to develop. I think that's something that, something a coach can't teach. You either have it or you don't. And I think somewhere along the line, you develop somewhat of a mental state where you know that you have to have that as well as physical capabilities. And so, again, I think, between the ears, again, if you don't understand and you don't know what you're doing out there on the football field, which is all mental, then no matter how physically fit and physical fit you are, then you're not going to be able to accomplish what it is that you want to. So you got to have a level of commitment, to do all those things and put all those things together. So mental capacity, yes, it's a big part of it, but the physical aspect of it is very, very important as well. But in saying that, if you're not prepared, you can be mentally prepared, but if your body is not physically prepared, for what the coaches and what the game is allowing you and asking of you, then you're not going to be able to succeed. So, again, mental part is a lot. But again, I think you have to be able to be physically fit. You have to condition your body. That's why I was able to grasp the knowledge, from my trainers to understand how important nutrition was with my performance, and I was able to sustain and be able to play for as long as I did. So I understand, not only is it the mental capacity that you have to have as well as the physical, but there's a lot of knowledge about you taking care of your body that goes into really the success of a number of athletes.
Yeah, and if I can say something to you there, Mr. Owens, in relation to records and playing at the period of time, when someone says to you that you're currently the only player in NFL history to score against a touchdown against all 32 NFL teams, or when you were playing for Dallas, when you scored a touchdown in 7 consecutive games, and then maybe when you're to people saying you're making Pro Bowl, you're making Pro Bowl team of the year, you're making first team of the year, your NFL receiving touchdown leader 2001, 2002, and just one more point in your actually said, right, I've reached the pinnacle here now, and I'm breaking records, I'm breaking franchise records left, right, and centre. Now, do you ever think to yourself, now it's about my legacy, it's my footprint that I'm going to leave back? And does that spur you on to even go that extra mile, which defines players who had good careers and then players who had great careers that will be remembered?
Well, I think everything that you mentioned, I think for me, as I listen to you, explain, some of those things. For me, those records, all the Pro Bowls and things that I made, if I hear that now, for me, I think of it really as a stamp of approval in terms of my work ethic, in terms of what I was able to do, what I set out and I dedicated myself and I disciplined myself to do on the football field. There wasn't any time where, that I set out to break any records, understanding that, in the process of me, in the process of me becoming who I was, from year 1 to year 8, in the San Francisco 49ers, understanding that I was playing on the field with the greatest receiver of all time, Jerry Rice, to be, to have a 1,000-yard receiver and share that with him, it's kind of, for me, it's indescribable, to understand the feeling that I had at that moment, knowing that, man, Jerry Rice has kind of paved the way for a number of receivers like myself, and I was able to accomplish, a big feat in the same year on the same field at the same time. So things that, I listen to people talk about, or, they get into heated discussions or debates in terms of where I rank in terms of a receiver standpoint. Again, it's only a testament, and I'm now giving you a testimony because of what I went through. For me, again, like I said, it's a stamp of approval because, again, if I didn't have that work ethic, if I didn't prepare myself, and if I didn't enable myself to understand the role that I had on the team with and without Jerry, then I wouldn't have been able to accomplish that I did. So I understood, me taking care of my body, me understanding the role of a number one receiver, understanding what that entailed, not only just catching the ball, but little intangible things, as far as running down the field, blocking for my teammates, embodying and encompassing, the full package of being a receiver. A receiver, again, if you on the surface, I think about catching touchdowns, but for me, there's a lot that goes into just, goes more into just being a receiver than just catching touchdowns. It's doing the little things, blocking, being a decoy, being able to enable other guys to be open because I'm double teaming or I'm taking coverage away from other guys. This is what I think about when you talk about all the things that I was able to accomplish in the records and things that I've broken and that I have. It just comes with the territory. So, again, anybody listening to this, especially kids or anybody from any other sport, just understand that if you put in the work, the game will bless you. It'll give it back to you. And that's all I did. I just basically gave all that I had while I could. And, the results is what you see now and you hear now. People speak of me.
And can I leave you, T.O., with two final questions? I just want to pick out one moment in your career that defines your career. Going back to 2004 with the Philadelphia Eagles, the Super Bowl final. December the 19th, 2004, you suffered a severe ankle injury. Now, many people would say at the time that you done for the year, that injury, you're going to take recuperation and you'll be all be fit for the following year. But you decided that you were going to put in the work to come back and make that Super Bowl. You arrived in, it's the day of the Super Bowl final. You're going in there. You've that injury that you've been working on so hard to overcome for the 6 months. What do you feel in that locker room going out there and that Super Bowl? Do you feel there's a onus on you after putting in all the work that you're going to go out here and that you're going to deliver and make a standpoint that it can be done on the biggest day of it all?
Well, absolutely. I understood the magnitude of that game, and so for me, understanding the timetable that I had, and I knew it was against me. For me, growing up in the South and me being a Christian guy and growing up in the church, that was something that I wanted to exercise, and that was my faith in God, knowing that no matter what obstacles lied ahead of me, no matter what doctor with PhD that said, understanding, and respecting their position as a doctor, understanding the diagnosis and the timetable that, of the injuries he sustained, the recovery period. I basically tried to defy all those odds and get back on that field and do the unthinkable. And I knew in my heart that, in the Bible it says, Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So, number one, I had to be mentally tough, and as I said, I really exercised, my faith in a higher being that, if I put my mind to something that I was able to do it, and so that's exactly what I did. And I vowed to my teammates, because again, regardless of what a number of people may say about me in terms of me being selfish, arrogant, or what have you, I feel like, number one, very inaccurately portrayed, but I'm a team player. I got back on the field not only just for myself, but I got on there for my teammates. I understood that they needed me, just as I needed them for the support to get back out there on that football field. And I had a great training staff, great head trainer, and Rick Burkholder and his staff that basically they piggybacked, my efforts with everything that they could within their power to help me get back on the football field, and I did that. And again, even getting back on the football field, there were commentators, media people that said that I was selfish for doing so. So again, with me saying that should put in perspective, kind of what I've had to endure and what I've had to go through throughout my career. But no matter what people may say about me, I never allowed that to really get under my skin to the point that it affected my performance. So, playing in the Super Bowl was probably one of the biggest highlights of my career. Unfortunately, we didn't win. We came up a little bit short. But again, I think what I've been able to do, and I think anybody going back and researching, they can really dig deep when they're going through something tough. And people say that they can't do something. If you put your mind to it, then you can do it. Understanding that the injury that I sustained, it was supposed to keep me out for 3 to 4 months. I came back, played in the Super Bowl in 6.5, 7 weeks. So again, I know that what I've been able to do in my career, I understand my purpose now is that I've inspired a lot of people that I never even thought that I would inspire. So for me, that gives me a humbling feeling to know that there are a lot of people out there that have marveled over my career, that have watched, pretty much every game and followed my career. So that kind of says it all for me, and kind of a stamp of approval, as I keep saying, for what I've done in the National Football League.
And lastly, Theo, I leave you with this: how much would it rubber stamp your career? How much are you looking forward to? And we here in Ireland, we're fully sure that it will happen to be in that Hall of Fame. Is that I was speaking to Tracy McGrady there recently, and the thought of it nearly brought him to tears when it was announced to him there in life. Is that something that's just be the sugar coat, and you could say, you could put your feet up and say job done on a marvellous career just to get that coat?
Well, I think absolutely. Early on in my career, when I scored, but when I caught 20 passes in a game, which broke a 50-year-old record by Tom Fears. When I was with the San Francisco 49ers, I broke that record in 2000, I think, catching 20 passes. And, they told me then that, they wouldn't allow me to keep my jersey, but they said my jersey is going to be, they're going to take that jersey and put it in the Hall of Fame. And I think from that standpoint alone, I didn't really think too much about the Hall of Fame. And, I addressed that with my agent at the time. He basically told me back then, he goes, you're going to be in the Hall of Fame one day. And I'm like, that really wasn't my goal to get in the Hall of Fame. I think anybody knows anything about the Hall of Fame. It's made up of some of the best and the greatest athletes that played or put on a pair of cleats in the National Football League. And so for me to be a part of that is definitely an honor. It's definitely humbling. But again, it's something that's not given. It's not deserved. But in my case, I'll take it and I'll say well earned, because nobody ever gave me anything. And again, I don't think it's really deserving. But at the end of the day, I earned it.
And Terrell, for all our millions of listeners here in Ireland, it's been a pleasure listening to you on what has been a fantastic career. We all know great characters in our time like Cristiano Ronaldo, and we all know the Messis of this world and the Allen Iversons of basketball, and they were flamboyant characters and really lightened up the sport. And for kids growing up here watching in Ireland, just to see the joy in your face, the joy in their faces, and see the enthusiasm you brought with all your flamboyant celebrations and touchdowns and all the choreography that went into it, that made kids smile and saying, I want to be the next Terrell Owens, I want to slam dunk a ball over a touchdown goalpost, or I want to do this sort of celebration in my own sport. And that it's been a pleasure talking to you, Terrell, and we wish you all the best in the future.
Absolutely, and hopefully one day I can get over there to Dublin, Ireland, and enjoy that culture over there. I appreciate all the fans that have supported me throughout my career, and again, hopefully I can get over there and maybe we can do an interview there at the radio station, do it in person. So again, I appreciate the love, I appreciate the support, and thank you guys so much.
Cheers. Bye, Terrell.